Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai
Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram
Ram Om.
Hari Om to everybody.
Hari Om, Swamiji. Hari Om.
Yes, you start.
Swamiji,
Ah,
we did from Thus Speaks Ramdas yesterday. First
Yes.
point was aim of life.
hmm.
We need to identify out the sole aim of life,
Ah,
that we see the indwelling reality that He is not only in me and in everybody, and everything and everybody.
hmm.
Then we aspire for it.
Hmm.
The aspiration should be intense.
Hmm.
To do that, we have the key in our own hands, the key being Ram Nam.
Hmm.
Follow our Guru with the steps of whatever suggestions and methods given.
Hmm.
Follow that without having our own ideas, our own things, without adding, without colorizing it.
Hmm.
Then finally renunciation. The biggest renunciation is me and mine.
Hmm.
This is what I have understood, Swami.
That is right. Yeah, that is right. But now we will try to concentrate upon one by one. The aim of life, when Papa says microcosm is the macrocosm, you are God, but you do not know. All those things, we are unable to understand. So that is why the easy way to understand is, we let us try to understand that mysterious power. This is the fundamental point, We have to keep on bringing into our mind. Just now we heard Papa's old video that is there in the YouTube. There he says, in the beginning he was chanting throughout day and night. And at the time of chanting, he was not thinking about anything. But every now and then he will stop and then bring all these attributes. You are all pervading, you are all perfection, you are within me, you are within everywhere. You are in the form of this, that, so many things. Again he said he will again go back to chanting, so that the mind does not go out. So it was a meditation come chanting together. So we are now trying to understand what exactly it could be. So that is why we said, first thing we understand is that we should know that He is there in us in the form of life force, awareness, intelligence, and we can add so many things. But are we able to understand this? Because life force, everyone can look within and find out what is this life force. The one because of which we are now listening, So we have to dwell on this. It is not an intellectual absorption of the thing. We have to dwell on this. Awareness, intelligence. Because when Papa says you are God, you do not know that you are God. That you should know. In the first page he will say. And he will say the microcosm is the macrocosm. Individual is the universal. How are we to connect? So first of all, we should study ourselves. He is seated within us in these forms. He is seated within us in the form of life force, in the form of awareness, in the form of intelligence. To start with, He is everything. He is everything. But at the same time, to start with, we concentrate with one or two of His attributes. Because the moment I close my eyes, what happens? So many thoughts come in. So I take to chanting of God's name. Then suddenly I believe I am there to chant. He is facilitating me to chant. If this is a dead body, it will not chant. If it is mechanical chanting, it won't. So that means consciously chanting, awareness. Like that, suppose we try to pick up. We may get an entry into His abode, which is within. Yesterday, Papa said, the Nama is the key that unlocks the kingdom of happiness, unlocks the kingdom of peace and happiness. So somewhere we have to do it, If we understand this, we will be able to really enjoy the journey with Papa in IQG. Because later on we will find 4 more. Today we will take up 4 more. How to train our mind? Because we are not full-timers. Papa, when he was a sadhaka, he was a full-timer. So no other deviation, no other disturbance. He said the wife and son, child was sleeping on the other room. But throughout that night he was able to chant. And he said the whole area was fully vibrating. And every now and then he will stop. He will repeat the attributes again and again and again. So that the mind does not go anywhere. So even while the chanting was taking place, he was trying to become aware of the presence of him whose name he was chanting. Because we are not full-timers, we should have a proper background while spending our time during our waking hours, during our non-chanting hours. If we are engaged in household, if we are engaged in professional commitment, if we are engaged in social commitments, there should be some method. So here Papa today answers work. Right from the moment we get up in the morning till we retire to bed, we are engaged in so many activities. So in order to train our mind to become aware of the presence of Him, perfection is the keynote in performing our actions. That means whole-souled action. When we handle anything, from the tiniest to the grossest, we are sitting in a garden, in visit compass. Today when this was set up, the person who was handling, he came. He was not satisfied with the way in which the chair he put. We thought we would adjust in anything. No. 100% perfection. So whenever we do anything, whether we are cooking, whether we are gone to the toilet, whether we are brushing the teeth, whether we are washing our utensils, whether we are cleaning our rooms, bedspread, working with the computer, or going to the office, attending to the professional commitments. Everywhere, we will now see Yoga Karma Sukaushalam. Dexterity in action is yoga. Efficiency in action, perfection in action, that is called yoga. So Papa gives importance for that. Especially since we are not full-timers, we have to train our mind on this line so that when we do Ram Nam, it will be perfect. The mind will not go here and there. The mind will try to concentrate on the attributes. And the mind will be craving to open the door. And the mind will be immersed in what is inside. Perfection, perfection, perfection. And then, they are never done. Actions are never done in a slipshod, clumsy, half-heartedly. Papa's own words. They should start from the tiniest. We should not forget this. It is not in holy places or before holy persons that we should do this. We should enter into all our activities. These are all things, spirituality in workaday life. Previously we thought, why should we do? Then only we realize these are all things that will shape our equipment, the mind intellect equipment to pursue the path by which we try to realize His presence within and then without. So perfection is the keynote in performing our actions. They are never done in a slipshod, clumsy, half-hearted way. We must engage in activities with full enthusiasm, free from expectations, and treating ourselves as instruments of the power. When we say instruments of the power, not that we are bringing in a new dimension. He is there within us in the form of that mysterious power, in the form of life force, in the form of awareness, in the form of intelligence. He is making us to perform this activity. So it is a payback to Him. It's an offering back to Him. He has given the raw material. He has given the process. He has given the equipments. What are we to do? In good old days, we don't know now, when we were all children, when mother prepares something, first thing, she will take it to the puja room and put a tulsi and do namaskar, offering to Him. We did not know anything about it. All that we knew was, we should offer first to the chosen deity first. Anything new. Even if it is a vada, even the neyyapam, it's a payasam. Even rice every day. Now we understand through Papa, our spiritual preceptor. It was he who gave us the rice or the ingredients. It was he who gave us in the form of intelligence to prepare that dish. And it is he who, by whose power we are doing it. If the dead body cannot perform it, he is there as a life force. And so it is to be first offered to Him and then to His creation. In Tamil, he used to say, Swami Kuchi Namaskaram Manduvamu. And those were all simple acts, but she was still teaching us, They may not give us any tall talk, but it conveys. Today we can understand all these things. So, we must engage in activities with full enthusiasm. What does it mean? Not because somebody asked you to do it. Any activity that comes to your lot, you have to take it that God wants us to engage. Even if you are doing the gardening, if you are doing the watering, if you are sweeping, if you are drying the clothes, with full enthusiasm and perfection.
Swamiji,
yes.
We used to keep the school result in the at the feet of God.
No.
Now I remember why. Now I understand why.
Yeah. Now see, we have to pay back. We are offering back to Him. It's a wonderful concept. Suppose He makes us to make a draft, compose certain things. At the end of it, after editing and refining it, you find an inexplicable joy welling up in your heart. That is the pat He gives us from within. Immediately, instead of taking credit, we will say, "Oh, you made it." Previously, we were thinking we have returned. Unknowingly, we were arrogating. But now we know. He has given the raw material, He has given the process, He has facilitated everything.
And prompted us to do it. And prompted us to do it also.
Pardon?
And prompted us to do it also.
Prompted us to do.
So we are offering to Him. So kindly reread, get registered in your, because this is something practical. Right from the moment we get up till we retire to bed, we try to bring this. In Thus Speaks Ramdas, Papa gives importance for this work. Ramdas does not want anyone to lead only a contemplative life. He wants every one of us to exercise our fullest freedom in engaging in activities with the right attitude. And what is the right attitude? Do it perfectly. Everywhere, we try to bring it. And we are seeing so many people who are doing this. They may not say so many things, but they will not stop until they are satisfied. Nobody gives a certificate. The certificate comes from within. The acknowledgement comes from within. Now it is all right, you can carry on. Now we have seen many such people doing silently. That is why at the beginning we said the world we live in is a school in which observation and experience offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. Nay, the world itself is Guru or God. We don't have to seek Him anywhere. And the last line, we request everyone to write down this, The inner beauty must reveal itself in the outer contact. Let us try, this should be there. Now, as soon as you enter the home, this should be there. In some way prominent, you have to every day exhibit, every day you close it, because otherwise, you may not see it every day. Every day, let that be an activity like brushing the teeth, going to the toilet, taking the bath, changing your dress, eating. Let this be there as a part. The inner beauty must reveal itself in our outer contact. It's something, classic. The inner beauty must reveal in all that we do. Not in a particular thing, not in a particular place, not before a particular person. Let us go back to our own lives, where he must have definitely taught every one of us these lessons. But we have not given the adequate attention, that's all. Because many of you have worked, retired, many of you have been able to successfully carry out the assignments given to you, and at that time, you brought out the fullest capacity within you, lying dormant in you, and that is why you were able to deliver things the way in which it should be delivered. But still, you were not aware this was a part of your spiritual journey. It's not something new. But this dimension was not there. Everything in a methodical way. At the same time, not offending anybody, mind you. Because the inner beauty must reveal itself in outer contact. It should be in a loving way. Even if somebody has done something, somebody has put or somebody doing something in an erratic way, you will not go and shout. Because then your Rajasic qualities come and have a total control over you. No. As a sadhaka, you are this thing. In the inner beauty must reveal itself in our outer contact. So we go and set right. Instead of blaming, we go and set right. You remember one of the prayers which is, if something has gone wrong, what's the next line?
Do not show an accusing finger.
No, if something has gone wrong,
let no one lift an accusing finger.
Let us not.
Let no one lift an accusing finger if something has gone wrong.
The exact words you remember. This day is almost gone. When night and morning meet,
when when night and morning meet, it will be only an unalterable memory.
Correct. Then,
So, let no unkind word
you know, unkind word
and careless doubting thought,
and careless doubting thought,
no guilty secret,
no guilty secret,
no neglected duty,
no neglected duty,
no wish for jealous fog,
this,
no wisp, W-I-S-P,
no whisper,
wisp of jealous fog,
jealousness. Okay.
be cloud as passing.
Then,
Now, in token of our deep and abiding love, we would lay aside all disturbing thoughts,
we would lay aside all disturbing thoughts,
all misunderstandings,
all misunderstandings,
all unworthiness.
all
Unworthiness.
yeah.
If things have gone
If
wrong,
things have gone wrong,
let none of
let
us,
none of us lift an accusing finger.
who is to blame is not
Who
important.
is to blame is not important.
Only how shall we set the
Only how to
situation
set
right?
the situation right.
And so, serving and being served,
Serving and being served,
loving and being loved,
loving and being loved.
we shall make this a
We shall make
peaceful
it
heaven,
a peaceful heaven,
where
where
we the children of God
we, the children of God,
shall live harmoniously,
live harmoniously,
joyfully singing
joyfully singing,
His name and glories,
singing His name and glories.
till
So
we merge our little selves in His eternal being and existence.
Now, what important thing is, when we are involved in work, naturally there may be some instances where some may not would not have understood a proper attitude. With a different cultural background, he may be doing it. We will not blame him. We will go and set right the situation. That will make him to think. Don't worry. You are not teaching him through words, but by setting right lovingly, not only that you are happy, he is also happy. These are all simple notes for our spiritual life. Papa wants us to demolish the barrier between spiritual and worldly. There is nothing called worldly, everything is spiritual. So here, we are trying to understand, it is that, it is not. The only thing is we try to bring in that He is there as the eternal witness. Inside and outside, He is watching us. So nothing but love, We remember all good things. This is an offering to Him. We may not know that it is an offering to Him. Today, the strong message Papa is giving, since we are not full-timers, at the same time we are all sadhaks. We want to feel His presence within and without. We want to embrace the whole world, whole creation with love. All those things are there, but we are unable to do it because our equipment is not still ready. So we are trying to make our equipment ready to understand this. Here are the points, and the important point is the inner beauty must reveal itself in our outer conduct. In whatever we do, not merely in puja room, not merely before a Mahatma, not merely in Ramnam, not merely in bhajans, not merely in studies, in everything. That means we are trying to remember Him in everything. Is that clear?
Yes, Swami.
Think about it.
Yes,
Because
Swami.
this is very, very, very important. In spite of hearing so many things, why are we feeling that we are not progressing? Because we are not clear about this. Inner beauty means purity of our heart. Where there is no vested interest, where there is no craving for me and mine. It encompasses everybody. That inner beauty must reveal itself in our outer contact. As a novice, as a beginner, we would suggest, that first of all we will try to see positive. Goodness. So that the mind gets completely, insulated. Because we are, later on we will find we are transforming even a negative to the positive. IQG teaches us these lessons. Seemingly negative one, how we can transform it into a positive one. So it was all because the inner beauty revealed itself in his outer contact. Whether at Rameshwaram, or when the two boys were mocking at him, or when the ticket inspector asked him to get down, when the ticket inspector snatched all the belongings, when the ticket inspector was manhandling. Just imagine. He was able to handle everything because inner beauty revealed itself in his outer contact. So IQG in-depth study gives this clarion note to all of us. We can understand God has given you so many limitations. God has conditioned you. Doesn't matter, don't worry, don't get depressed. Don't get dispirited. All that you do is, whatever activities you are engaged in, try to make it as perfect as possible. Never in a slipshod, clumsy, half-hearted way. With full enthusiasm, we engage in everything. Whether it is a tiny job or a menial job or a managerial job, wherever. Yeah. We remember when we were working, when the tune comes, when he starts cleaning all the tables, files, seats, the manager will be coming and he will wait until he finishes and goes back. He will not come and why did you not do it before I entered? He did not want to interfere the perfect way in which it is done. So we remember all these things, now. So perfection. Even it should start from the tiniest, otherwise, we will not be able to. But so far we were doing it as a discipline. Most of us may be doing all these things as a part of our discipline. But now we know it's not merely a discipline at the outer level. It is because we are offering all these things to him. We don't throw away the flower on the chosen deity. We offer it with all love, with all reverence, So that was the rehearsal God gave us. In the puja room, whatever you do when you go to the temple, these are all the rehearsals. With what an attitude you or the pujari does. And then that is why, you are in a position, suppose the pujari does it in a clumsy way, you will not remain there for a few. But when he does it perfectly, you yourself will spend a lot of time in. Because you want the devotion to be expressed. You are not limiting your devotion to that particular deity, but still you need. Today is Shivaratri day, Mahashivaratri day. Many people observe in many forms. But it's a day for us to remember this. At least on that occasion we go to a Shiva temple nearby to know that Shiva is in our heart. And we are praying to him whatever that we are doing. Make it an offering to you, please. Not merely what we have offered in the temple now. It's a symbol. Vinoba used to say there are only three things here. Me, the devotee. He, the Lord. Rest of the things are articles of worship. Not a few things are articles of worship. Everything is an article of worship. So this inquest of God makes us to see that inner beauty, and finally Papa seals this, inner beauty must reveal itself in our outer conduct. It's very, very important. Anybody has anything to say this?
To dive deep within with reverence and love.
Order keeping mom.
In the officially.
Swamiji is able to hear?
Hello?
Hari Om, Swamiji, you are able to hear? Somebody is talking. Hari Om.
Order keeping mom.
Hari Om.
Swamiji, they are talking.
Hari Om.
Can you hear?
Yes, I am able to hear you. Are you able to hear me, sir?
No.
Hello?
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Can I talk?
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
No, some audio mistake.
Unable to hear.
Swamiji is not able to hear. Swamiji is not able to hear.
Hari Om.
We can't hear Swamiji.
Hari Om, Swamiji, we can hear you. Are you able to hear us? No, something
Are
is
you able
wrong.
to hear us?
No, net problem is there. Wait. Swamiji is checking. Swamiji, we can hear you, but we... Hari Om? Hari Om? No. Hari Om, Swamiji? No.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Swamiji?
Mataji can send us.
Yes.
What?
Swamiji understood that we are talking, he is not able to hear.
Hari Om.
Swamiji, we can hear, but you are not able to hear us. We are talking.
The
Sound is not coming.
Your internet connection is enabled. You are put,
We can hear you, Swamiji.
Padmaji, he can't hear us.
Mataji, hope it doesn't happen with God.
It is there.
Hari Om, Swamiji. Net problem. Net only.
Net problems.
Net problem.
I think we can hear Swamiji, you cannot hear him. That's only with your connection.
Yes.
No, Swamiji understood. He is trying to check his connections.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Pranam Swamiji.
No, he's not able to.
Mataji, his audio volume may be 0. His audio volume may be 0.
They are checking.
Chandu
is there. He is checking.
Whatever you do is an offering to him.
Whatever you do is an offering to him. So when we do something, we need not think, oh no, this is love, worldly activity. No. This is an office activity. No. He is watching us from within and without. You remember, Papa used the word sentinel. So he is watching us, whether we are doing it perfectly or not. He may not come and tell us. So it is for us to, he out of his generosity gives a lot of long rope for his children. But we should rise, He tells us like this through Satsangs. Look here, whatever you do it as an offering to me. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a particular sloga, we forgot that sloga. Mat karma, whatever we do.
Mat karma bhava.
Work with a sense of gratitude.
That particular sloga, that's right. Sense of gratitude. Anything. We were doing it certain things in a limited way. We have labeled it as a household duty. We have labeled it as a professional duty. We have labeled it as a social duty. But we never label it as God, duty towards God, who is behind everything.
Mat karma mat paraha madbhakta sangha vardhita nirvaira sarva bhuteshu.
Yahasa mameti pandava.
I think in the 12th chapter,
11th chapter, 55th sloka.
Beautiful sloka.
9th chapter, Mataji.
No.
9. Okay. Mat karma. We will take it up tomorrow, don't worry. We will not break our heads on that. Elaborately, we have dealt with it. Whatever we do it with perfection. Now, somebody is trying to ensure that the sunlight does not disturb us. So they brought an umbrella. The umbrella by itself will not stand. So it has to be properly fixed without a human being. So there should be care and concern. It may be a tiny little act, but we try to do it perfectly. So like that, everything we do is not for any patting on our back, any appreciation or any recognition. That's why Papa says, with the least expectation or zero expectation.
Seemingly negative to be made into positive. Seemingly negative to be made into positive.
Into positive. This is a very important point, work, because people who are not full-timers and people who are engaged in various types of activities right from morning till evening, how are we to convert this as an act of worship? So here Papa gives us the clue. Inner beauty must reveal itself in your outer contact. Yes, anything else?
Work, I want to say something, Swamiji. When some work is interested to us, we have to think it is, when some work or job is interested to us, we have to think only I am responsible, I am completely responsible for this. I have to do it. So that way the perfection comes.
Yeah. Nothing
like
wrong
bringing up a child, like how we feel for the child, I am wholly responsible, how I have to do it. So each work and each act we have to think, once we take up a work or job, we have to think it is mine, I have to do it completely. Nobody else is going to do it. Only I have to do it. So
we may be doing it, but we have to bring in the other dimension.
He makes us to do. He makes us to do it.
He makes us to do it.
Yes.
It's an offering to him. It's an offering to him. It's an offering to him. You
Yes,
should be free from
Only-
fault, flawless.
Only now we realize all this.
We have to be. It's a beautiful word, Inner beauty must reveal itself in outer contact.
Yes, Swamiji.
With full enthusiasm we should do, Swamiji.
Full enthusiasm. Full enthusiasm. Any activity.
Yes, Swamiji.
From the time
When the work is done,
Yes?
when the work is done perfectly, Swamiji, we get an inner joy.
Joy, correct. An inner joy which is inexplicable. A pleasant feeling. Never
Free
in a
from-
slip. Yes, come on.
Free from expectations and knowing that we are only instruments.
Correct. Samatvam yoga muchyate. These two words, from Bhagavad Gita, second chapter. Yoga karmasu kaushalam and samatvam yoga muchyate. That contains everything. One is that we bring in efficiency in action. We make it as perfectly as possible, and we need something to make us perfect, We try to learn, we try to follow, we try to observe people who are doing it perfectly. And then we extend it to all our activities. Efficiency in action. Dexterity in action. Perfection in action. Every action. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. And then he says, another part of yoga, what will happen when I do this? Samatvam yoga muchyate. Equanimity is yoga. I will neither be elated nor by dispirited. If somebody congratulates, as Pujya Swamiji used to say, we close our eyes and say, you are testing me, you have done everything. So you don't own anything. And you keep yourself. And suppose people condemn you, mock at you, then also you try, it's a test. Have I made it as perfectly as possible? I will correct myself. That's all. We will not find fault with the other. We will not offend anybody. Oh, is that so? That word comes back again. We try to correct. We did our best, but there could be still some flaws in it. The other day, you remember, we were sharing that incident of that mother teaching her child without teaching, vocal teaching. She was asked to carry the vessel of milk. As she was coming, she lost the steps and she fell down. The entire milk was also spilled out. Mother was observing. She did not utter a word. She also joined, told her to join her in cleaning. Said, you can play. The child felt very bad, but not a word from the mother. They cleaned everything. The child was, terribly dispirited, dejected. Mother did not utter a word. Later on, she asked the same girl to bring the water in the same vessel, which she had filled up and kept it. And this time the child brought the water without spilling. Immediately after taking it, she hugged, you have done it perfectly. Then she said, while I was taking the milk, I thought about something. Immediately I slipped. Now I thought I should not do it. We are remembering and repeating it because here is a wonderful teaching given by God, Don't find fault.
Yes.
If we find fault, there won't be any inner learning. But when the child did it by herself, it will stay with her throughout her life. Nobody told her to do anything. The mother facilitated to bring out the latent goodness in her in the form of perfection. You may also go through again and again your own life. You would have found out so many such instances of people without losing their balance, they teach. Doesn't matter, no? Many instances come up in our life, The other day we were remembering again. Father was telling us about a level-headed grihastha. He was a steward in the hospital in Bangalore. He had 4 or 5 children. He was finding it extremely difficult to make both ends meet. At that time, you have to pay fees for your children in the school. So it is overdue. The son came to the hospital and said, my name will be struck off if I don't pay. He borrowed 5 rupees and gave. While going to the school, he saw, some play, some game, where if you put something, you will get double. So with all good intentions, he played and he lost everything. Now he cannot go to the school. He came back to the father. Father immediately asked what happened. He said, this is what had happened. I thought of not troubling you so that if I earn double, next month I need not trouble you, but in the process I lost. The father immediately patted on his back, don't worry. He again borrowed another 5 rupees and gave it to him. That person, when he became aged, we happened to meet and he was crying at that time. Father did not utter a word. Because 5 rupees means today is 50,000 rupees. Even at that time, the father borrowed another 5 without commenting. He said that was the biggest lesson I had learned in my life. When you are asked to do something, you do it perfectly. You don't use your intellect to double up and all those things. Do everything perfectly. Do one thing at a time. He said that gave me a wonderful lesson. And father did not utter a word. So like that, this yoga karma su kaushalam and samatvam yoga muchyate, when we think about this work, perfection, when we think about the word that inner beauty must reveal itself in outer conduct, these 2 words in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, if it comes back to us often, not as a intellectual exercise, but it's a reminder to make our life perfect and to keep up the same equilibrium. Today Papa is forcing us to we cannot move one more, work. We thought work and seva we can combine. No. This is very, very important. Wherever we go, we work and then we try to learn this equanimity, Perfection leads us to equanimity. Perfection leads to equanimity. Yes. Anybody would like to say anything?
Swamiji, work and be a detached witness of the work.
Work and be a detached witness of the work. That means we don't own anything. We do it perfectly, but at the same time we don't own. The me and mind will immediately interfere, especially when you come and say, you have done a wonderful job. When somebody does something, we do it now in the email also.
Yes, Swamiji.
So when we do that, we should know God has made him to do it. So if we try to bring in the dimension, whether they can understand it or not, God facilitated you to do it and you did it well.
Yes, Swamiji.
There is a field for the sense of individuality also, no doubt. The sense of individuality really made use of that opportunity and made it as perfect as possible. So somewhere if we are convinced, if we think that everywhere we should try to bring in this dimension, then in all our activities it will be reflected.
Yes, Swamiji. Thank you, Swamiji.
Let us all try our level best. Today it was a wonderful topic for us. And we don't feel anybody would have felt it dry. Because it is something connected with our day-to-day existence, day-to-day life. Work. Before closing, we will again read that. Perfection is the keynote in performing all actions. Never in a slipshod, clumsy, half-hearted way. We must engage in activities with full enthusiasm, free from expectations, and treating ourselves as instruments of the power. The inner beauty must reveal itself in our outer conduct. Okay then?
Swami, one doubt, Swamiji. In doing this perfect work, that depends on various outside conditions, isn't it? Doing perfect work depends on various outside conditions in production and other outside conditions.
Again, let us know. Whatever we do,
okay.
Whatever we do, in total disregard to anything from outside. Whatever we do. Mind has got a tendency to say that all these things should be there, then only I can do it perfect. No.
No, Swamiji. In factory and production work and all that, if you want to do some perfect work, it depends on so many other factors. Getting electricity, the current, those other things are there. No, so they may not contribute to our perfection. So at that time, what do we do, Swamiji?
No. That means you think that it has to be certified by somebody. You do it. Whatever we do it perfectly.
To serve man is serve God.
Whatever we do. We will not depend upon any external factors for this. External factors may discourage us. External factors may feel that we are the insufficiency. We may be feeling it.
Yes.
No. Look, whatever we do, because God is giving us an opportunity to do, that's all, and you do it perfectly.
Okay. Yes.
We must try, we must try to 150% efficiency, so that at least 50% efficiency will be there in our life.
Right.
And when we do it automatically,
other things will follow.
Other things will definitely get
right. Now
you are not doing it for anybody else.
Yes. Now correct.
It will be reflected. That beautiful word, inner beauty, must reflect in your outer.
Right.
Please think over it again and again and again. It is a wonderful tool Papa has given now to make our spiritual journey more and more effective. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Pranam Swamiji. Pranam Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Pranam Swamiji.
Namaskaram.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Pranam Swamiji.
We'll meet tomorrow.
Pranam Swamiji.
Pranam.
The more questions tomorrow, Swamiji.
Allah been okay. Hari Om.
Yes, Swamiji. Thank you.
Hari Om.
How are you, Swamiji?
Happy moment.
How are you, Swamiji?
How do you find?
I find it.
First time seeing you with this beard. It's full of energy.
It's weird.
What happened, Swamiji?
The presence of beard makes a man
Mild attack of herpes.
Yes, Swamiji.
Because of the mild attack of herpes.
Yes, Swamiji.
Yes, I know, Swamiji.
So,
But how is it now?
It's better. I won't say 100%, but we are moving towards 100%.
Yes.
It must be very painful, Swamiji. Is it very painful?
Painful. Is it painful?
Pain is there. Pain is there, but all manageable. Papa has given it for a purpose, you know.
Swamiji, sannyas ke pranam.
Swamiji, pranama. Swamiji.
Sannyas ke pranam.
Sannyas de. Pranam, Swami.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Swamiji.